Thank you for your introduction, Dr. Park, and thank you for organizing for giving me an opportunity to present my research result today. Today I would like to talk about redox manipulation for the selective production of butyric acid by Youngsoon. Well, as I usually do at the international conference, I would like to introduce Korean Institute of Science and Technology, or KIST, briefly, and then I will talk about my research. Korean Institute of Science and Technology, or KIST, is the first research institute established by government in 1966, and since then it has been a leading contributor in the development and industrialization of science and technology as a multidisciplinary research institute. Also, KIST is ranked as the 6th among the world's top 25th innovative research institutions in 2016 and 2017 in a row by Thomson and Reuters report. So the headquarters is located in Seoul, nearby Korean University, and there are 2 domestic branches in Gangneung and Jeonju. And also there is one branch, international branch here, Germany, and 2 international centers in Mongolia and India, and several international on-site labs. And my research interest is biological production of butanol, 2,3-butanediol, butyric acid, hexanol acid, and hexanol. And among them, I will talk about butyric acid today. Butyric acid is a useful chemical in the many industrial areas, and also it can be converted to butanol biologically and chemically. Actually, butanol is one of the biofuels. And butyric acid can be produced by chlorine tyrotrom or chlorine butyrochrome and so on. But the butyric acid production is actually limited because there is not general genetic tool is available, and acetic acid also produced as a byproduct, which actually lowers the butyric acid irritant activity. But there are so many pathways and complicated things here going on inside of cell. So to produce butyric acid, of course the microorganism should have pathway to butyric acid and the redox status, such as the NADH, NAD+ balance should be established in there. And it shows the simplified butyric acid production pathway from glucose, and 2 NADH is produced from glycolysis pathway, and 2 NADH are usually required to produce butyric acid. It seems that the redox status is balanced here, but actually there should be extra NADH to produce cell mass and metabolize. That means to balance redox status during the butyric acid production, the more NADH providing, the more butyric acid can be produced here. So in my research, what I'm doing is using a more reduced substrate than glucose. So what kind of substrate I used here? The candidates were glycerol and mannitol. Actually, glycerol can be generated from body facility as a byproduct, and mannitol can be easily extracted from the brown algae. As you can see here, glucose based on 6 carbon, glucose can produce 2 NADH, but glycerol can produce 4, and mannitol can produce 3. That means glucose and glycerol and mannitol can provide more NADH for butyric acid production. So I will talk about the glycerol utilization first, and then I will talk about the mannitol utilization for butyric acid production. So actually using glycerol to provide more NADH is not the new one. It's actually widely used strategy. But it was interesting that there was no report on butyric acid production using glycerol as a sole common source or as a substrate. Anyway, I tried to utilize glycerol and compare that result with glucose. With glucose, chlorine tyrotrom can produce butyric acid and acetic acid as a byproduct. But with glycerol, I couldn't see any cell growth, I couldn't see any consumption of glycerol, probably because the redox imbalance. How about the mixture of glucose and glycerol? At the first trial, without acetic acid, I couldn't see significant consumption of glucose or glycerol here. But it was very interesting that we found that with the acetic acid addition at the beginning of fermentation, we could see the simultaneous consumption of glucose and glycerol, and also acetic acid was also reduced, not produced. It was very interesting. So what caused this kind of consumption of glycerol in the presence of acetate? Well, the mechanism is not verified yet, but it can be possibly explained this way. It shows a more detail of butyric acid production pathway here. Butyric can be produced from butyric-CoA by transporting CoA to acetate, and acetate is converted to acetyl-CoA here. When the glycerol is added here, glycerol can be diffused into the cell and then it metabolized. At that time, extra NADH is produced. That means inside of the cell, the redox status is not balanced. But when the acetate was added here, the extra NADH can be consumed by converting acetate to butyric acid here. So that's why I think that acetate has played a critical role in glycerol consumption in this way. So to further investigate the effect of acetate concentration on glycerol consumption, the mixture of glucose and glycerol at a ratio of 3:1 was used with various acetic acid concentration. And you can see here, the glucose and glycerol consumption is significantly dependent on acetic acid concentration here. And especially, once the acetic acid was depleted here, no more glucose and glycerol consumption occurred here. And also, when I plot the acetate consumption and with glucose consumption, butyric acid production, and glycerol consumption, I could see clear linear relationship between those factors. So to attempt high butyric acid production, I tried high concentration of sugars without glycerol and with glycerol. To mimic lignocellulose biomass hydrolysate, I used 80 gram per liter of glucose, 30 gram per liter of glucose, and 7 gram per liter of acetic acid here. As you can see here, without glycerol, glucose consumed and butyric acid and acetic acid is produced. But with the glycerol, initially we added here, you can see glucose, glycerol, the orange line, and the acetic acid consumed simultaneously, but acetic acid was increased because acetic acid is produced as a byproduct from glucose fermentation. But when we add more glycerol here, we could see that the acetic acid consumption started here, began here, and glycerol consumed here too. So from this result, we could see that not only the acetic acid we initially added here, but the acetic acid produced as a byproduct can be also consumed here. So finally, we could see that almost zero acetic acid production here. So from using glycerol, we could get high production of butyric acid, yield, and selectivity with glycerol compared to sugar-only fermentation. And this is the first report on glycerol consumption involved butyric acid production. So from the lessons we got from glycerol fermentation, we tried to use mannitol for butyric acid production. So mannitol can be extracted from the brown acid easily through the acid treatment. And you can see here, mannitol also cannot be significantly consumed without acetic acid, or with the acetic acid, we could see that active mannitol consumption here. So instead of adding acetic acid, we thought about using glucose, the mixture of mannitol and glucose, because acetic acid is usually produced from the glucose fermentation here. So when we mixed the mannitol and glucose, but without acetic acid addition, we couldn't see active consumption of mannitol glucose here. But with the addition of acetic acid here, we could see that mannitol and glucose actively and rapidly consumed here. But at that time, we found that the only small amount of acetic acid was consumed, 0.4 gram per liter. That means we don't need to add much acetic acid, but just low amount, small amount of acetic acid is required for the mixture of mannitol and glucose fermentation. So we thought about using lignocellulose hydrolysate because it contains sugars as well as acetic acid, where maybe and phenolics and some inhibitors too. But we focused on the sugars and acetic acid here. So to try the mixed biomass of brown algae and rice straw, and to compare the results, we prepared 3 kinds of hydrolysate. First one is from brown algae, and second one is from rice straw, and third one is the mixed biomass of brown algae and rice straw at the ratio of 8 to 2. With the brown algae hydrolysate, mannitol was just already consumed after long lag phase. But with the rice straw hydrolase, we couldn't see any consumption of glucose or butyric acid production here. But simply by mixed these 2 biomass, we could see that mannitol can be consumed very well and glucose can be consumed very well, and butyric acid successfully produced here. So from this result, we could see that just simply mixing the biomass together can serve some limitation of a single biomass utilization. So in conclusion, we successfully achieved metabolic shift to butyric acid production using more reduced substrate and using not only the sugars in lignocellulose biomass, but also acetic acid in lignocellulose biomass hydrolysate, mannitol and glucose can provide some cost-effective and efficient butyric acid production. And this is the research group, and I'd like to thank you for your attention. It's almost lunchtime, so thank you.
Excellent presentation.